Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Make a Model Dark Angels 2.0 Super Combo Edition Part 5. It's been a while, but I've been busy with real life stuff, haven't been able to do anything with the hobby really. We all know how that is, so just gotta bear with it. But finished what I said I was going to do in Part 4, so let's go over this real quick. There's not too much to say, but I can ramble on, so let's try and keep it simple. Finish the bases. These are resin cast bases, but the same principle applies for resin cast and regular bases. First off, detail on a base. Resin cast bases innately have higher detail than what people usually put on their normal bases. And as such, you're going to have to pick out some detail more so on resin cast bases than you will on other bases that you make yourself, unless you put a lot on there yourself. But, point is, don't go overboard in picking out the detail. Pick out enough to make it look complete. Don't leave skulls unpainted. Don't leave, let's say, with something clearly metallic, looking like it's stone, for example. Pan up appropriately, but don't go overboard. The more intricate your base is, that much more intricate your model has to be, and well put together and well painted that your model has to be to overshadow your base. Your base is there to basically make it look complete and and finish it. But if it's competing for attention, then maybe the base is too intricate. Now, that's for most of the time, in my opinion, unless you're doing a camouflage style theme of a squad, in which case you want the base to compete with the model, because that's the whole point, to make it look make it look like it's blending in. If I could talk ever when the camera's on. But anyways, I picked out all the detail on the bases, as you can see. Kept it pretty simple, but it gets the point across. It's ruins. It looks like there's some industry there with the metallic parts. There's a skull. There's some brickwork, and you can see some shell casings, like here, for example, and over here. I edged the bases on the rim. I call it edging it. Real quick with that, don't do it in the same color or in a similar shade of a color that is dominant on your model. So if your model is mostly earthen tones, maybe go with a blue, for example, instead of like a brown. If your model is blue or green, don't use any shades of blue or green. You don't want it to look like it's part of the model. It's just there to clean it up. And I recommend doing that to all your bases. Also, lastly, with bases, whether it's resin cast or whether you're making it yourself, you want to make sure the footprint on the base looks natural. By that I mean where the model will put their feet, where you want to glue the model down, it looks like they can stand there without a problem. If it looks like they're standing at an unnatural angle or standing weirdly like they wouldn't be able to be properly supported, that's no good. So you want to keep that in mind. Alrighty, so what's the next step? Well, part of the Super Combo Edition for Dark Angels 2.0 is, in this Let's Make a Model, is assembly line painting. I talked about working the resin a bit here and there, and we're really getting into the assembly line style of painting now. We've been doing it a little bit here, but now it's really going to be assembly line style. The bases were done, so now I'm moving on to the next step of actually starting parts of the model. And I'm starting the bolters, and the reason I'm starting the bolters is because, for me personally, the bolters are annoying to do. I like to get the tedious stuff out of the way. I like painting bases, but it can get tedious if you leave them till the end. So I like doing them first and separate from models. You may have the model glued to the base already. That's fine. However you want to do it, that's fine. This is how I do it. So I'm doing the bolters next. And with a lot of Space Marine weaponry, primarily the bolters and the special weapons, they're separate from the model completely. They're not attached to arms. There are some bolters that are attached to arms, but for the most part, they're separate, as you can see here. Which is why I have two. This one has the grip on it, as you can see, and this one does not, because I clipped it off. Now it comes, if you never dealt with bolters, if you never dealt with the bolters before, it comes fully sculpted with the grip and everything. That way, if you use it as part of a weapon rack, or you put a clamp to the side of a bike, or if you have the model holding it by the not by the grip, but by the front of the stock, and then the other hand holding an Auspex or throwing a grenade, it looks complete like a bolter. But when you want to do it the normal pose, and this is using a Civil Skulls model as a demonstration, this is the normal pose, you have to clip the bolter grip off. That's because that arm that was holding the bolter, I'll show you again, that hand already has the grip in it. It looks like it's holding the grip already. So when you clip the grip off, you put the bolter on the arm appropriately, it looks like it's holding the bolter. They do it that way with the bolters just so it gives you more posability, more options, especially considering you can have a squad um, with a plasma gun in place of a bolter. So instead of having two arms, one with a bolter, one with a plasma gun, they have it, so you just clip it off. So firstly, when you're dealing with bolters, specifically, painting on bolters, figure out, are you going to have them all holding it in the classical way, the traditional like this, which I will be, so I'm going to be clipping off all the grips. If not, don't clip off all the grips, obviously, or else it'll look weird, and you have to do it that way. When it comes down to it later on, assembling your model with bolters, you want to do some test fits to make sure you can hold the bolter properly. Depending upon how the arms are situated, you may not be able to put both arms like this. It may not be able to be done like this. You may have an arm by the magazine. You may have it unable to really hold the bolter in the front. So you want to be extra careful when you're gluing the arms together for the bolter. But other than that, the next step will be to paint up all 5 bolters for these 5 Marines. Now I'm going to do them as red bolters, so it's going to take a little bit longer than if you're going to do it as a black bolter. And when we come back in the next part, in part 6, you'll see the 5 completed bolters and whatever I'm going to work on next. And lastly, assembly line painting style is, as you're working on the particular part in question, in this case the bolters, I'll be thinking about what do I want to do next. And the way I have the models broken down is the bases, which are done, then I have the body, head, chest, legs, as one piece, and then I have the 2 arms separate, and I have the backpack separate. Do I want to work on the arms next? Do I want to work on the backpack next? Or do I want to work on the body itself next? I'll figure that out, and you'll see a couple pieces as examples in the next step with the 5 completed bolters. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for sticking through this video ramble, and until next time, take it easy.